Thom Hartmann here with you. Will we ever see the end of poverty? A new documentary is out. It's opening in Portland on December 4th. For those of you who are listening on AM 620 KPOJ here in Portland, and I'm assuming all across the United States, theendofpoverty.com is the website, and Phillipe Diaz, the writer and director, is on the line with us. Phillipe, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you for having me. It's very nice to be here.
Am I pronouncing your name right?
Yes, that will be fine. Don't worry. I heard everything, so you're good.
Okay. Phillipe, in the End of Poverty, this is narrated by Martin Sheen, this documentary. You're suggesting that poverty is not an accidental circumstance, that it was brought about very methodically, and that it is maintained by institutions whose public purpose is to end poverty, and yet whose private purpose is actually to maintain poverty. Am I encapsulating that well?
Well, I think you make me sound a little bit like a conspiracy theory person, which I'm not at all.
Well, I'd say they're doing it right out in the open.
Right. No, but I tried, I think that people understand today fairly well that the organization like the World Bank and the IMF can play a negative role. What I don't think they understand is that it's not something that started like 20 years ago.
Right.
It's something which started with the beginning of globalization, and the beginning of globalization is 1492. I'm talking about modern time, of course.
Yeah. Well, arguably, I think you could push this all the way back to the Epic of Gilgamesh, 7,000 years ago in Sumeria, or to the Roman Empire. I mean, we're simply repeating these cycles of conquest, domination, empire, and in order to maintain empire, you have to have a small, wealthy ruling class and a large poor class.
Absolutely. But I think it was important, I think for the people today, it's important to understand what's going on in the world today. I think we entrapped ourselves in a system that was built starting in 1492, where in fact the conquistadors, when the European, actually our ancestors, started to expand very brutally, and went to conquer Latin America, Africa, and so on.
Right.
Because we built a system that today cannot function without the resources of the South. If today, let's say all the countries of the South unite and say we will not give you access to our resources anymore, the economies of the North collapse immediately. The America, Europe, Korea, Japan, etc. So I don't think it's a conspiracy. I don't think at all it's the conquistador had a master plan for the 500 years to come. I think that it was a not really well thought system, which brings us to the fact that today, as one expert says in the film, we are consuming 30% more than what the planet can regenerate.
Right.
So of course, until 50 years ago, where we thought that the resources of the planet were unlimited, it did not really matter for, let's say, the traditional orthodoxy of economists. They thought that, well, it doesn't matter what we take, because at the end of the day, when these countries need to develop, they will have plenty enough of resources to do so. Now we know it's not the case. And we know that, which means that if you want, because of the world population increases every year, it means simply that for us to maintain our great lifestyle, our level of waste, our level of consumption, we'll have to plunge more and more people below the poverty line in the countries of the South. It became a mathematical issue. It's not a political issue or an ethical issue or anything like that. It's a mathematical issue.
Yeah, and you look at the population curve. I mean, we were 1 billion people in 1800. Our second billion only took 130 years, 1930. Our third billion only took 30 years, 1960. Our fourth billion only took 14 years, 74. Fifth billion took 13 years, 1986. Sixth billion, 11 years, 1999. There had to be some way to to maintain that, and to have a system that could extract wealth from that growing population, I suppose.
Absolutely. And what we did in the last 500 years, we just changed the tools. Now we are not taking these resources by way of the gun or way of the cannons which were loaded on the boats of the conquistador. We take them by economical tool. It's why, I needed John Perkins, for example, to be in the movie, because he's this, confession of an economic hitman. He's this former hitman who explained how he created these fake artificial debts for the countries of the third world.
Right.
And we just changed the tools. Now we use, the wrong tax system, the unfair economic economic trades, of course, the structural adjustment of the IMF, the loans of the World Bank, et cetera, et cetera. But because we are entrapped ourselves, again, we cannot function without these resources.
Yeah.
And of course, the movie ends with a card which says that 18,000 children die every single day from poverty-related causes.
Right.
It's clear that more and more will die every day if we don't change our system. There's no other way.
And that's the question for the last minute or so that we have here. We're talking with Phillipe Diaz. He is the writer and director of this brilliant new movie, The End of Poverty. TheEndOfPoverty.com, the website for showing in times and places and all that sort of thing. It rolls out here in Portland on December 4th in the Living Room Theaters. What is the end? How do we bring about the end of poverty, Phillipe?
Well, at the end of the movie, we bring a lot of solutions. So there are different levels of solution. There are political solutions. For example, we have to help all of this country to bring agrarian reform. We have to change the tax system in the world. Like, for example, in the 20th century, tax shifted from property ownership to labor and consumption. Right. There should never be taxes on labor and consumption. There are a lot of political solutions like that we explain, but I think the most important one is this expert who explained that unless we start to degrow, and stop to have a system based on growth for the sake of growth, we will never find a solution. Because again, if we are consuming 30% more than what the planet can regenerate, it means that if we continue the same way, we will arrive to a massive explosion where it won't be like the real estate bubble.
Well, I'd say in many parts of the world we're already there. I mean, you've got starving populations all over the world. For them, the end has already come.
Absolutely, and it's what creates social unrest, terrorism, resource war, etc., etc.
Yeah.
But unless we change our system, it will continue. It will become more and more dramatic, and more people will die every single day because of us.
Right. Very well said. Phillipe Diaz, the website, the movie, The End of Poverty. The website, TheEndOfPoverty.com. Check it out. Phillipe, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you.